welcome to PlayStation Grenade. Is it just me, or has Fortnite Chapter 2 been quite difficult to follow? The narrative jumps around and nothing really gives us the answers we need. Well, what if I told you everything is being laid out right in front of us, hidden in plain sight? Let me break it down for you, and if this is helpful, please throw a like my way and think about using code ADAMARU in the store to keep these shenanigans going. Here's the thing though, to start understanding Chapter 2, we need to revisit the OG island and Chapter 1. When Season 4 of Chapter 1 arrived, we had our first experience with the power that would become the Nexus, a 0 point of unimaginable energy which was buried within the island. All we knew back then was that time travel was possible. We saw a rocket losing control and warping around the map before breaking the dome which held us. The visitor was trying to achieve something, but alas, we had no idea what was going on. We needed to go deeper into this rabbit hole. Season 5 of Chapter 1 once again blew our minds with the creation of Kevin the Cube, a mysterious object produced from nothing. Almost like an external force was adding things to the island. Back then we suggested we were being watched and manipulated. Little did we know, we were right, but we'll get to that soon enough. The thing we must note from Kevin's journey in-game is from his death, the butterfly event. The butterfly showed us that the multiverse is real, multiple dimensions all operating at the same time, bridged together somehow. Something else we noticed back then was that this scene in Fortnite was very similar to that of Doctor Strange. Could Fortnite and the world of Marvel movies be related somehow? Right now in Chapter 2, we know a little more about that secret organisation watching the island, Agent Jonesy and his governmental men in black. But even as early as Season 4, we had seen them in-game searching for something, and in Season 8, it finally happened. The vault was revealed under Loot Lake. The heart of the island opened up, and we visited the Nexus of Control. In here, we saw the orb which would become pivotal to this story, but also a sign of the second visitor, one designed to change our future and give us control. Some sort of paradigm shift was coming. Our intrusion in the vault was not taken well by the island, who wiped out entire locations to protect itself, but it was too late. We knew about this source of power, and so did that secret government group. The Nexus point was real. But then we were trapped, stuck in a bunker until a new world evolved. Season 9 saw the uprising of the Paradigm. Her statue stood proud. She had been busy preparing the island for something and utilising the vault's power to energise the island, but also build a defence for it, in the shape of a Sentinel mech. We didn't need to wait long to find out why the bot was here. The event in that season saw a battle bigger than anything we'd seen before. A grotesque monster with one mission, to open the vault and feed on the energy within. But Paradigm had seen this danger and piloted the mech to defeat the monster. But things didn't go completely to plan. In a last-ditch attempt to save the island, she broke open the vault, and instead of protecting the Nexus, she used it, granting her unbelievable power to vanquish the demon. We were saved, but before any questions could be answered, Paradigm's mech left the island, never to be seen again. Seemingly. And then Season X arrived, and the world is destabilizing fast.
Season X is here, and the world is destabilizing fast.
The 0 point was now unable to control itself or contain the energy it holds, leading to rifts in space and time opening everywhere. This was the season which many questions were answered, but even more appeared. Different dimensions continued to appear. Events from over a year ago were reconstructed, including the meteor this story began with, preserved in time and held in place. Upon the rock, we once again saw the visitor's capsule, but this visitor was not the same. Yet another reality had invaded our home. The scientists came to complete the plans of the original visitor and continue the work of Paradigm. And that's when we were hit with an info dump, like no other. The Seven, an extraterrestrial organization attempting to stop the loop we found ourselves stuck in. We discovered primitive recordings of the Seven, who told us this.
When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others?
From this, we knew the island is attempting to keep a secret and muting inhabitants, removing their memories in the process. We became puppets, reliving the same 20 minutes over and over again, loop after loop, unable to speak. The Seven told us of a bridge, a connection between Fortnite and every other world and realm in existence, kinda like the one seen in Thor. A Bifrost to move between worlds instantly. In Fortnite, this is a floating tunnel of cloud. We've seen Jonesy float through this in Season X. This is arguably the most important thing in Fortnite. It's how all the crossovers are possible. The bridge pulls in other dimensions. It's unclear if the Seven wanted to control the bridge or simply harness it for their plans. But now the scientist was all alone and the only one who could complete that plan. To destroy the 0 point. The very thing we've been fighting to save for years. The scientist prepared in the same way the original visitor did. By designing and building a rocket, he created rifts in time to procure the items he needed, and then, on that faithful day in 2019, conditions were ready. The scientist timed his plan to perfection, and the other members of the Seven simultaneously used the bridge and completed their plan 2 years in the making, destroying the 0 point forever. But we ended up in a black hole instead. Was this really the end? And this is where new information has come in to help us build the story of Fortnite. The man in charge of narrative, the mustard we call Donald, has told us this was the exact moment Galactus felt the island breaking up and reconnecting, rebuilding itself. The immense power was so undeniable to him, the Eater of Worlds spent the next 12 months flying to consume this island. And we had no idea. And now we've made it to Chapter 2, a new world to discover. The island felt familiar and simultaneously brand new, and now we know the Nexus simply remade itself, like a reset button. The first season we were here was all about duality. Two factions are a running theme in all seasons this chapter, starting with Ego and Alter. The Ego squad was the first to arrive here and quickly found their doppelgangers, and a war broke out. This was also at a time when secret agents were seen watching from the background, but that doesn't become apparent until Season 2, the season we found Midas. Midas is completely different from other Fortnite characters. He could turn things into gold by simply touching them, like the legendary story you heard at school, but somehow he remembered more than the loop he was stuck in. We think this is due to his golden ability, each mask representing another loop, and although he is unable to speak, he had a plan to break this cycle. The Alter and Ego factions were replaced with Ghost and Shadow this season. Midas set the two sides to fight each other, all the while watching through his agents. This was a diversion, because Midas was able to remember the loops he was part of, and that all his actions were futile. Except they weren't. The island remembered core changes, like map updates after each loop. So Midas hid away an update in secret, underneath the agency. Midas was building a reactor. But why? Midas quickly figured out the island was not the reality he accepted, and discovered this was a hub world which others passed through. I suppose seeing a man advertise his new Star Wars movie was the moment of that realization. Midas took it upon himself to break the loop, and over the next weeks and months created a device like no other, one which could harness the storm. His plan was to activate this at the exact point the loop reset, i.e. when the storm circle began to close. Then all hell broke loose. If you were there that day, you saw with your own eyes he was successful. Well, kinda. The storm was forced back, but instead of the loop resetting, we were transported to another location. An office. A mysterious place, which proves that we were right all those years ago. This is a simulation, and we are being watched. And the culprit? None other than Jonesy, the OG character we've seen on this journey for years. In this world, Jonesy is known by Agent John Jones, and we hear him talking about watching the island and manipulating the events. Suddenly, the creation of Kevin the Cube and the finding of the vault, and those random characters dropping into our game, all these anomalies had answers now. John Jones is running tests on the Fortnite island. Midas had broken the loop for long enough to hear someone speak for the first time. But as soon as it happened, it was all gone. The words became gibberish again. Midas had failed. Midas was seemingly punished for his actions and was taken out at the start of Season 3, by a shark no less. Season 3 was a return to normality. A flood quickly washed away Midas' actions and introduced another dimension, that of Aquaman.
I invited Aquaman. He said no.
It was like we were being forced to forget what happened in Season 2 and continue to loop. But we'd seen too much by now. And as you know, Galactus was already on the way. Before Season 4 began, we saw the arrival of Thor's hammer to the island. Thor, in this version of the multiverse, is the Herald of Galactus. Thor acted like a chaperone to Galactus as they are on the same mission. An entity has arrived in their world which will devour their reality completely, and the only way to stop that is to allow Galactus to consume enough energy from around the universe to have a chance at saving that version of time. Thor's role is to tell Galactus what he can consume. Usually this means Thor jumping down to the chosen world, using the Bifrost to save them before Galactus chows down. And that's what Thor intended to do this time. He arrives to warn the inhabitants, but the power of this island is too vast even for a god. Thor begins to lose his memory and his ability to speak. He joins the loop as a player. Thor quickly calls for help as this island is like no other world. Heroes arrive, but once again, the power of the island is too strong. Wolverine becomes an enraged wanderer in the woods. Doom goes back to his natural desire to rule, but others are able to control themselves in a similar way to Midas. Tony Stark begins to build a way to fight off Galactus, but even he is forced to take part in the looping events of Battle Royale Island. However, Iron Man keeps on working, using rifts to bring his home in New York to the island, frantically upgrading the battle bus to go up against Galactus. Time continues to tick, and Galactus' 1 year travel to the island is almost over, just as our heroes are forgetting themselves and losing their own voices forever. Make no mistake, Galactus is here to destroy the island, and we must save our beloved home. As we approach the final event, it's uncertain what will happen next. Some people have suggested a return to the original island, some people believe the bunker will finally open, and some say the Seven will return to protect us. Now's the time to pass this over to you. What do you think will happen next? I'd like to make next week's video about your theories on how the story is evolving. Please write a comment below and upvote your favourites, and let's see where you guys would take the story forward. Thanks for your time. On screen now are the people from my Discord who kindly used code ADAMARU in the store. Thank you very much for supporting me. Next video, I'll be thanking everyone who sent me a code ADAMARU Twitter DM. Thank you very much for supporting me, I appreciate it. I hope this video was useful. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next time.